back online to do some more leak coding this morning. Probably not for real long because I got to start my day job in just a little while here. Um, but I took a break and I had some stuff going on in my personal life that just made it a little tougher to find the time to do a whole lot of leak coding on stream. So now I'm trying to find a schedule that I can make a little bit more maintainable, just so that it's a little bit more consistent and a little less unpredictable. So with that being said, I've got a few challenges lined up. I have if I can turn it the right way, I have my baby Yoda mug full of coffee ready to go. And without any further ado, let's go ahead and give it a shot. So today I have a couple of problems lined up. The first one I'm going to do is implementing stacks using queues. So implement a last in, first out LIFO stack using only two queues. The implemented stack should support all functions of a normal stack: push, top, pop, and empty. Implement. Okay. I may have even done something similar to this on stream before. I can't remember, but we're gonna go ahead and give it a shot today. Um, so main, is this Java? Yeah, that's Java. I don't think that's valid syntax though. I think we need the semicolon, but I guess the rest of this wouldn't be either, so then maybe that makes sense. Stack. Yeah, that's not valid Java, because Java doesn't have an integer class, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Um, and I guess I can pause for a second. The basic idea here is to create, oh, hey, Tomic, or Tom, welcome. Doing a real quick couple of challenges this morning. Probably won't be on for too long, but starting with implementing a queue using stacks. And the idea here is, or the intuition is, since you've got a stack, which is going to be first in, first out, or first in, last out. Am I prepping for interviews? No, I finished an interview run not too long ago, and that's kind of why I took a break from doing quite as much streaming, just because I was putting a lot of time and energy into doing stuff or coding challenges that didn't really translate well to doing on stream. So I'm kind of wrapping those up and back to just doing some LeetCode easies on stream just for some fun and to stay kind of current. So just wrapping up the interview run myself. So intuition is you've got two stacks, and one is going to be your main stack, but it's going to be first in, last out. And then you've got another stack that can be your dummy or your scratch stack. And that's where you put everything that you're not ready to pop off yet. So then your options are for pushes to be expensive because you got to empty your main stack to get to the bottom element, or for pops to be expensive because you have to empty your main stack or empty your main stack to put something in at the bottom, or to get something in. So we're going to call this second stack just scratch, and then we'll initialize them both. So we'll say main stack, new stack integer. Tom or Tomic, are you prepping for interviews yourself, or are you just curious about coding in general? I gotta look up what the command or the. Okay, so it is just add for a stack. Um, it's always tough to just memorize these kinds of things, but oh, awesome, yeah. Um, yeah, leak coding is a great step to do along the way there. What's your time frame? Are you aiming to do that or be ready to go in weeks, months? Oh shoot, man, I'm sorry to hear that. Was it the coding part or the non-functional kind of social aspect of it? What was the tough part for you in the interview? Now I gotta look up how to tell if a stack is empty in Java. Oh, snap. Okay. Um, so if you were interviewing with the CEO, it must have been, was it like a smaller company or a startup? And for anybody else watching or anybody following along, oh man, that's tough. That's a really rough combination where you've got an interview that's not going well and then somebody who's just not being helpful on top of that. And like, I, I can't say that I get it because you should be able to be polite to an interviewee who's taken the time to talk to you one way or the other. But yeah, that's rough. I'm sorry to hear that. Wait, was it a smaller company or like a larger outfit? And for anybody else, I'm trying to find how to test if a stack is empty, but it looks like it's just .empty. Yeah, and that's for anybody listening on stream later. Tom is saying that he was really wanted the job, and that's what made the interview even worse. And that's totally understandable. When you've got a job interview that matters a lot to you, then you just take it so much more seriously, and there's so much more pressure on it. So that's really tough. Um, and then CEOs, as an engineer, I've worked with a lot of CEOs, and I acknowledge that they just have a mindset and an approach to things that's not mine. I'm not a CEO type. I couldn't do that job, but they do approach things, or the CEOs that I've interacted with just tend to be very intense. And, to their credit, they've got a vision for a company. They're trying to build something from nothing, but it can make them very intense people in those situations. Um, for better or for worse. So yeah, I can understand how that would be super intimidating. Um, is that the one? Have you only done like one software engineering interview so far, or have you done a couple? Uh, and while Tom is answering, if he feels like it, um, I'm going to finish implementing this, which is so the step here is, um, or actually, yeah, I'm going to reverse this. Um, so what I want to do here is empty the main stack, and then I'm going to add something at the bottom of the stack. So I am opting for my pushes to be expensive. Oh, that's terrific. Yeah. I'd encourage you, even if your goal is FANG, just to start interviewing around. Like, there's no better practice for interviewing than interviewing. And in my experience, most places don't take that too personally. Like, they get that software engineers are in high demand. And it's not like it's not like you can um, really hold it against a software engineer for interviewing, even if they wind up getting a job offer that they don't take, or if even if it doesn't go that well. So I'd encourage you, even if your goal is FANG in the end, to explore around and just kind of see what other options you've got. Especially now with the world being as remote as it is and as remote friendly, so many more places are happy to just schedule like a day of interviews because instead of having to fly you out somewhere and put you up in a hotel and buy you food, they just schedule a couple of video calls and it's way, way cheaper than it used to be. So, yeah, a lot of more places should be willing to interview and at least give you the experience now. But yeah, that's terrific. I'd highly recommend doing all the prep for FANG and treating it like you're going to be at that level. And then even if you interview at a not a FANG level company or just something similar, you'll be over prepared, hopefully. Okay, yeah, that's awesome, man. You're already a step ahead of me on the advice there because and for anybody not reading the chat, um, it sounds like he applied for 6 companies and got offers. It sounds like at 5 out of 6, but then the one that you really wanted was the toughest one. It's unfortunate that that's how it turns out. Sometimes is the coolest companies have the highest bars. So yeah, I can relate to that where you've got a goal. Did you wind up taking one of the 5 offers that you got, or did you decline in favor of kind of holding out and doing some more prep? Uh, and for anybody watching the coding, we're going to empty the existing elements into Scratch. Yep, yeah, I'm based in the US. I live in a state called South Dakota. I don't know if you're from the US or not, but it's right in the middle of the country, so in the Midwest, as we call it. Oh, nice. Okay, that's terrific. I've never done any Angular. Maybe like I may have seen an Angular file at some point, but um, I try to avoid front end for the most part in favor of doing back end stuff. Oh, cool. Awesome. What part of India? Okay, and taking just a minute to look this over. So my pushes are going to be expensive because I'm emptying the main stack into my scratch stack and then returning everything from the scratch stack to the main stack. Pops are cheap because with this operation, I can add an extra comment here. Um, yeah, Tom is saying he'd rather work for a or work on a backend role, and I'm biased because that's what I've done my whole career is backend stuff. I do like I'm technically full stack now, but our UI is pretty simple for the services that I work on. So um, how can I get into the US? I really want to work in the US. Terrific question. I don't have a ton of advice for you. I know some people who have done it. The hardest part, I'm sure you know this already, but the hardest part to figure out is the visa stuff. So if you find smaller companies, they're often not willing to, or at least my observation has been, they're often not willing to sponsor visas and go through that process. But if you go for a larger group, like a FANG level company, they've just done that kind of thing more, where they've got better understanding of the visa process and how much it costs and the effort and the value they get from hiring a software engineer. Um, and again, this is tough advice to give because I don't know anything about your situation, but I do know some people who have made the hop through Canada and found a company in Canada or even just an office in Canada where they were able to get visas and move to at least North America and then make the jump into the US from there, kind of doing the visa stuff from a little bit closer. So, just another perspective to offer you on what I know some other people have done. Alrighty. And actually, the other comment I'll make on getting into the US is you're in a pretty good field for that because there are so many job openings right now that can't get filled. Um, um, and it's just crazy right now how much money is flying around and how many openings there are for software engineers in general. So you're in a great field to get started in that direction. Um, and I'd encourage you, keep building out your skills, keep doing prep, and actually one other thing I could offer there is I know some other people who have done the India to US hop by working for a company with their headquarters in the US that have offices in India. So that's kind of another path where, or and again, take all this advice with a grain of salt, and I'd recommend doing your own research. But um, I've known a few people who found that path to be easier, where they can get into a company, they already know how to talk to HR. They already know how to, figure out who's going to handle the visa stuff when the time comes, and then that makes it a little easier to make the switch afterwards. But I think I am ready to run this code, and we'll see if it works. 22. Oh, nice. Yeah, you're early on in your career. I'm a little bit older than you are. Um, uh, Something went wrong here. Output. expected null 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 2 2. Top pop. Okay, so let's figure out what is wrong. Int push stack. I might just need to print this off. Because that all looks reasonable. Main stack.pop, main stack.peep, peak. Yeah, so I'm just going to add some print statements. And I think when I say print statements, I think it's going to wind up being just the exact same system.out.println before and after this, with maybe reference to what method I'm in. Or no, this is before pop. And this is let's take a look at that. Okay, so after push main stack, yeah, so this looks like it should have been correct. So why am I returning 1? Unless, am I... Let me add this in here, I guess. Yeah, did I... I'm trying to figure out what I'm misunderstanding here. So new stack... class implement stack. Goodness gracious. So I have this exactly reversed, which is why I couldn't figure out why what was going on here. So I am not implementing a stack using, or a queue using stacks. I'm implementing a stack using queues. Yeah, thank you, Tom. I think you saw that faster than I did. So this is exactly reversed from what it should be, which I'm going to blame LeetCode because they started me off with a stack as a, yeah, yep, yeah, you're totally right, man. Or I shouldn't say man, you're totally right, Tom. Yeah, I need queues here, not a stack. So let me look up, I think I can just use an array list for that. I'm not sure if there's a better actual queue class. Okay. So there's a linked list. Examples of a queue in Java. I wonder if the array list. Yeah, okay, so let's just use the first example where they're creating a linked list. I didn't know that, or at least I've never used the just main collections linked list. So let's swap that out. Main queue. We're gonna do the same thing here. Okay, so instead of a main stack, I have a main queue and, yeah, I don't know why I'm initializing these up here. Okay, so now we've got a linked list. And instead of a scratch, we have a scratch queue. All right. So let's go through an update. And we're going to need to change a few things. So now I want to know if my main queue is empty, and then I'm going to add it to my offer, because I think that's the queue. I think that's the queue queue method. Let's see what Oracle has to say about it. Yeah, okay. Offer, poll, offer, poll, and peak. Offer. Okay, so now we've got while main queue is not empty, scratch.offer, and then main queue dot offer x empty, and then we're going to reverse this. So now we're going to do scratch.poll, and this needs to be main queue, scratch queue, main queue, scratch queue, main queue. Okay. And this needs to be main queue dot, I think, is it still peak? I just looked at it. Peak, yeah. Main queue dot peak, main queue dot peak, main queue dot empty. I think that should fix the problem. So let's give that a shot real quick and just see what happens. Would really help if I had valid syntax, which that's another pro tip for LeetCoding is, cannot find simple main in my stack. Main queue dot empty. Main queue dot is empty, I guess. Let's try it, yeah. And then I had another one, or I had another error down here. So this needs to be is empty. This needs to be is empty. That looks valid. And I thought there was something else that I had broken. Scratch queue, which is not what I called it. I called it scratch with a capital Q. Where? Oh, line 23 is where I've got that wrong. Scratch Q. Maybe? Yeah, here we go. Okay. Capital Q. Let's try that. There we go. All right. Well, it works a little bit better when you slow down enough to read which data sources you're trying to make use of. Example test cases are passing. We're going to go ahead and run the whole thing. 10 milliseconds faster than 19%. We're going to rerun this just to see. And I wonder if it's interesting. So we're kind of on the slower end. Which I guess depending on the implementation, maybe it's that I'm using a linked list. wonder if a Java array list support or implements the queue interface, because I think for what I'm doing here, an array list might be faster, but I don't know if array list implements the queuing interface or not. This is Java 7, but it should be fine. And I don't think that it does. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to take a quick look and see if there's another solution. Linked list, push pop. Oh, okay. Okay. Um, so the punchline here is, um, okay, this is actually quite clever. This didn't occur to me at all. Um, really, when I get over here, what I want is exactly, yeah, okay. So what I get over here, what I want to do is add my new element to Scratch and then reverse the references. Um, so I think I can take the time to implement that quick. So basically scratch queue.offer x, and then we're going to take this out. And now we've got x, so our new element at the very top of the queue. And then we want to, well, maybe I'm not following what they're doing here quite yet. Removes the element or pop. Yeah, that makes sense because now I've got a queue. Okay, so in this state, after this execution, I have a queue with the next element that I want to remove on top, and then everything else should follow in order because I've just repeated the same operations. So now what I really want to do is rather than go through that all of the elements again to get them back into the original queue, I can just swap the main queue and the scratch queue. So if I do queue integer temp equals, we'll just grab scratch queue, and then I can do main or scratch queue gets main queue, and then main queue gets temp. Just for consistency, we'll make it a temp queue. And then that should still work, but be much faster because I'm not revisiting every element a second time. So let's go ahead and try it on some more test cases. And 10 milliseconds, so really right at about the same. I'll try running it, well, maybe I'm a couple milliseconds faster. Yeah. But I'll take it. There might be some other implementations that would be a little quicker. That's something I could take a look at another time. But I think for for today, I'm gonna call that good because I gotta, like I said, I gotta start my day job in not too long. So thanks anybody who came by for hanging out, and have a great day. Bye.